Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do kind of reverse coding as a batch. So the thing that I'm going to do to get this started is I'm going to adjust the Rosenberg self-esteem scale, which appears to be these questions 24-1 all the way to 33-10. And let me come on over here just to see or double check that. I'm clicking on this, and yes, in fact, agree is a 1. The disagree is the 4, and normally we want to talk about them going from the low number of being wrong or disagree all the way to a higher number to the right where it would be the agree. So these definitely do need to be flipped. Okay, so what I could do to fix this is again identifying this one question, Q24 res 1. I could go up here and tell it to transform, recode into the same variable if you're brave. It's smarter to recode into a different variable. Let's come find that first question. Q24 res 1. Yep, that's the one from the list that I was looking at right here. And what I would probably say the smart thing to do is to come steal the name by copying that, just so that we can be lazy in this. We're going to say the old variable name was that. The new variable name, we're going to call it this, and I'm just going to temporarily add a v2 to it. And it's right now saying with this question mark, I don't know what I'm doing until I hit the change button. And now it's going to say take question 24 RSES1 and turn it into Q24 RSES1 version 2. Then I go to old and new variables, and I'm just going to remove a couple of these because I already have this set up. So actually I'm going to remove all of these and start over again. So what you do is on the first thing is say, look, if it was a 1, in your case it's a 4-point scale, it's now going to become a 4. If it was a 2, it's now going to become a 3. And then hit add. If it was a 3, then it's going to become a 2. And if it's a 4, it's going to become a 1. So you're playing the exact opposite game. And then this gives you the chance to say, yep, the opposites. 1 becomes 4, 2 becomes 3, 3 becomes 2, 4 becomes 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the opposite order. Excellent. Hit continue. And then go ahead, since we've given it this name, we can go ahead and just hit OK. And as soon as that's done, it's going to tell us some output information that it was able to do that and execute it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double click on this so that I can copy that information from the output file, and we're going to steal that or borrow that to do other things. I'm going to slide on down to the bottom of your variable list, and here we go. Q24 blah 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 v2. And just to verify that it did it right, oh, by the way, it's going to have, sometimes SPSS automatically adds numbers with decimals. So I'm going to go ahead and just change that to be 0 because we don't need that for here. And if I looked at the data view, what that's saying is if I came way over here and looked at Q24, this one, this is a 2. So if we think about it, a 2 would end up becoming a 3. So this should be 3, 3. Then what's the opposite of this one? It should be 2. So 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, and so on. And then this one down here that's at position number 9 should go from a 1 to a 4. So we'll keep an eye on that. 9 goes from 1 to 4. And these first two go from a 2 to a 3. I'm going to slide all the way over to look at your new variable, and there you go. 3, 3, 2, 2, yep. And what position number 9? Yep, it went from a 1 to a 4. So yes, in fact, it did reverse code that. That's great. So you could manually go in here and tell it to recode into a different variable. And for each one of these, you could come back and you could enter this one and copy the name for question 25 and tell it to do it label 2 and go to the old and new numbers. And it's nice that it remembers this. So all I have to do is hit continue, and I could manually go through and do that one by one on the 9 things. Instead, this is generally a faster way. and that is I'm going to go ahead and open up a new syntax, which is like the original code that SPSS was written in. And I'm going to hit paste. Because what I did here was it's basically stealing what it already did on that one that it effectively did recode. Now I'm going to go slide back to your list, and we're going to go find this particular number again. And what we need to do is we need to move down from all these ones. The next one's going to be Q25, 26, 27, 28, 29, all the way down. I'm going to steal I'm going to, in a minute, need to steal the name of that last one. But I'm going to start this off at 25 all the way down to 32. So I come back over here to my syntax. I've already done this one. So I'm going to change this name from 24 with all that extra stuff to 25. And it's going to recode it into this one here that's called 25 V2. So this first one's set up to go 25 to 25 V2, and it's remembering all the recoding information that we already gave it. So if I take that and copy it and paste it, that will be my 26, my 27, my 28, my 29, my 30, my 31, and my 32. And lastly, my 33. And then I have to come back in here and change this to be 26. Oops, I'm sorry, since the first one was 24. Yep, 25 goes in there. So 26 will be 26. This one will be Q27, which that makes this be 7. This one will be 8. 8, 9, and 9, 30, 30, 31, 32. So I left off. This one needs to be 31. 32, and then this one here, the 33, I'm going to go click over here and steal this very long name. Go back to my syntax window, change this to be that name, and change this part of it to be that same name. So now I have stolen the names, and what I'm doing by borrowing the code for how it changed that first one, I'm going to tell it to make all of these, turn the original one into the same name thing with the V2 on the end of it. Just staring at those for a second, highlight them, hit run. And it's going to go ahead and tell me I successfully managed to do all those. So in one big swoop setting, as long as I'm here in the data view, I'm going to come on down and tell all of these to go ahead and just be, I'd have to do this whether I did them individually or whether I did them in a batch like what I did. And then again, we can double check this by flipping back over to the data view, and I'm going to go find this first one of these along this run here. So these again are going to run from our 24 through our, which we already have done over here at the side. Those are 24, and then here's all of our new ones. And let's just check a couple of these numbers. So 25, 26, 27, this should be a run of, this 2 will have changed to a 3, 3, 3, 2. So I'm going to slide back over here, look at your new things, and yes, in fact, we've gone 3, 3, 3, 2. I also noticed, just to spot check some other area, that this particular one, for example, on question 25, the person number 5 on this row over here should have been a 4. Well, now this number needs to be a 1. And then I'm also going to go ahead and check that 31. The second person will now be a 4. And I slide back over here. And yep, this person went to a 1, person number 5, and then this one here should have flipped to become a 1. So it's looking like everything has flipped exactly like how I asked it to do so. So now that I've done that as a group, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to make sure that I'm up here on this particular row, and I'm going to highlight all of my 24 all the way to 33. I could just leave these out here, but then I'd have 2 sets of 24, 2 sets of 25, etc. So at this point, because I did a save as and changed the name to version 3 before I did this, I still have a protected version 2 if I later decide that I had a problem. But I selected that whole thing as a batch, copy it, stare at it one more time. I'm moving from 24.1 to 33.10. And then I'm going to slide back on over here. And I'm going to click on 24 and I'm going to highlight all the way down to 33.10. My old, oops, I need to make sure that I'm grabbing from the top. Highlight all of my things. There I am. And I'm staring just at this bottom row. This was a 2, so it should be a 3, 2, 4 is what I should end up seeing in these 3 numbers right here as soon as I go up to edit and paste. Again, 3, 2, 4 is what I should see. And I hit paste, and there it is, 3, 2, 4. So at that point, I have successfully, rather than going through and recoding each column individually, I did the syntax. I stole the syntax from the output viewer for the first one, copied and pasted that formula, and then I came back over here and I replicated it here. Obviously it doesn't get done in 5 seconds, but it's a pretty quick process. And then when I ended up doing that and creating these new variables way out here to the side, all these extra things that I made over here, and then I went back and I double checked and I copied them over. So at this point I'm just gonna go back in and say I no longer need those anymore. They served their purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to edit and tell those ones to clear, because I in fact have pasted your new values back into the original column. So we are all set to go. That scale is completely set up and now ready to move on to the next one. Again, it's a tedious process, but it's still faster than having to go through and attack every variable to do the switching by hand.